Greetings, Legionists. Arndelft here. So, I decided today that I was going to pop my head out and take a look around. You know, a little bit at the virtual world, looked at a few of those online news outlets and whatnot. And, you know, it's a healthy thing to do. To pop up and, you know, dive into something you don't normally look into or dive into on a regular basis, especially when it opposes your normal views or whatnot. You basically, you know, opposition equals growth. And growth is what's needed to actually expand yourself. Otherwise, you're just basically trapped in an echo chamber, hearing the same things over and over again. You never grow, you never go anywhere, and essentially, for all intents and purposes, it is a form of damnation, where literally you're stuck behind a dam, just sitting there. Nothing happens. And eventually, you rot, decay, and go to Nurgle. And I decided that, you know, a long time ago, I didn't want to go to Nurgle. It's kind of why I don't collect chaos. So, yeah, I popped my head out and realized just how disturbing things are getting in America. Holy terror. I mean, my generation is, they don't much care for paying attention to what's actually going on. They prefer to live in these tiny little worlds of disturbing repetition and other things. And as for pretty much me, you know, I play a lot of video games, and tabletop was sort of an escape. It required me to actually physically interact with other people and stand up for long periods of time, which, since my job doesn't require me to stand up for long periods of time, started to get my feet hurting. I'm like, what? Why are my feet hurting? What the blue blazes? And then it occurred to me, man, you don't stand up a lot. I mean, due to the circumstances of my room, you know, in filming my videos, I don't even stand up during filming my videos. So, yeah, I do a lot of sitting down. If I ever had one of those near-death experiences, I've always wondered, what would I see the most in a flashback of my life? And I thought, do I sleep a lot? No. Fact is, I push myself to sleeping very little. And that's stupid. I should really spend more time sleeping, especially in our regulated sleep schedule. I get up at 4:30 in the morning every day, yet I go to bed rarely earlier than 9:30. And I need to be getting more than 6 to 7 hours of sleep a night. I really do. It's not good for me. But, yeah. So, some of these disturbing things, I would just kind of like to get a message out there. If I could just get one message, just a single one, it would honestly be something that I practice with my faction in Warhammer 40k and in my own personal sci-fi universe. Stop killing the mailman! Leave him alone! Well, he's dead. Oh well. And spoiler alert and disclaimer, all our mailmen are fine. And male women. We never had a single one of those actually die to our dogs, or for that matter get remotely harmed by them. I doubt any of them have even seen our dogs. But just getting that out there, just in case somebody freaked out by it. But if I could get one message out there, it's the same type of message that basically Legionist tries to spread. And no, it's not love, peace, stop fighting, that kind of thing. That does not exist in Warhammer 40k. I mean, the closest you'll get to a hippie in Warhammer 40k is Slaanesh. That's the closest you'll get. And ask any Slaaneshi worshipper if they are anything like a hippie. The answer will be a most definitive no. But Legionist spreads one major truth above all. Do not simply believe what you are told. learn, grow, expand your mind. If you are just told something, even if incidentally that thing is correct, and you simply believe it by default, then you have put yourself into a very dangerous mental state. You've put yourself into a state of blind trust, and sometimes willfully blind trust, which are two different things. And once this happens, you essentially have given up a huge part of your free will. And once you enter that state, and it becomes your way to, quote Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly, it becomes your way. Once you are trapped in an echo chamber, you don't want to get out of it. You don't want to leave it. It becomes comfortable. You want to stay there. You don't want to grow. You want to do what everyone around you is doing in your little echo chamber. It's scary when somebody comes around and shines a light on what you're doing. You lash out. You attack. Legionist spreads the truth of learning for yourself. And one of the biggest truths of that, of learning, is learning who you are. Now, one of the biggest, and I do mean biggest, lies of modern society is believing all these things which aren't fact at all, but in fact are simply what's socially acceptable, to what everyone around you in your little social norm is saying is right and good and everything else, and anyone who agrees with you is wrong by default. It's dangerous to not even want to listen to what anyone else says. And once that happens, that's called willful ignorance. It's one thing to be in an echo chamber and merely, you're isolated and you're just not exposed to other things. That's just called being blind, Willfully blind is when not only do you have someone come along, shine a light on what you're doing, bring an opposing view, and you turn your head away and won't listen. But what's even more willfully ignorant than that is where you turn and try to blare them out so that nobody else can hear them. What's even more, because there's a step up from that, is when you follow that person around, blaring around. You go to their events, you go to their rallies, you go to anything where they are having an event that, they're having at their location or whatnot, and you're trying to disrupt it. You're trying to make it so people cannot hear or listen. You're trying to literally force an echo chamber on these people. You are literally opposing free speech. I mean, growing up, what's the word? Never, really blended in. Never have, likely never will. It's provided me with a very unique perspective. But I sit here and I wonder, how does this happen? How do we have a generation that refuses to even listen to an opposing view, who will literally, try to blare you out just because you disagree with them, who will follow you around, for all intents and purposes, harassing you, to try and blare you out with white noise? It is shocking and, eye-opening when I pop my head out of my games and my hobby and my constructing and building all these different models and whatnot, and took a look around. Even saw this girl who, on one of the news outlets I follow, who was not from America, who had come here from a country where they got bombed, where there was war in her country. And it wasn't some massively rare thing like 9/11. It was something that was not all too uncommon. She came here hoping for, the free democratic society and all the, free speech and all these different things. And when she attended one of these rallies, hoping to, hear what was going on, there were all these people there who had grown up in America, been raised here, and who were, verbally attacking and sometimes physically attacking those at this rally who were just exercising their free speech, who were just, coming up and sharing their opinions. And she's like, I'm shocked. These people are, in and of themselves privileged, and yet they're calling everyone around them who disagrees with them privileged, and, all these other things, fascist, white, privileged, all these other things, and she's just sitting there like, what is this? She was shocked. And I sit there and I look at this and I'm like, that is completely correct. I mean, I myself, growing up, believed that for the most part, racism was a complete thing of the past. 100%. Okay, not 100%. I knew that there were still people out there who clung to racism. I knew that. I wasn't so naive as to think that racism was 100% a thing of the past. But for the most part, I figured that racism was in the past, and gladly so. And then approximately 8 to 9 years ago, Obama took office. And I think it was during his first speech as president. I forget exactly what they call that. He ended up saying something that struck me. He said, and we will put racism even further into our past, or something along those lines. Not an exact quote whatsoever, but along those lines. And when he said that, I remember thinking, yeah, but for the most part, it's pretty much already in our past. I mean, a lot of terrible things have happened in this country, and I was shocked as I would go through history lessons and learn about the things that happened in our past. Call me naive, but growing up in America, with plenty of different peoples of different cultures, religions, and colors on their skin, I thought, this is a pretty awesome place to live, especially when I was told about how bad it was in other countries. And then I learned where America has been, and that was like really eye-opening. And then he says, but us being where we are, and then he says that, and I'm thinking, well, that's odd. Why is he bringing that up? And I figured, well, might have something to do with the fact he has a darker skin color, I suppose. Truth be told, I couldn't fathom it. But then as time went on, the color of your skin suddenly became a really big deal. Again. And people kept bringing it up. Again and again and again. And I was wondering to myself, well, why wasn't this a big deal before Obama got into office? I know in some areas it probably was. Probably still is. But it kind of blew my mind. Well, then I went around and I happened to see an actor by the name of Morgan Freeman who had this rather brilliant notion that took me a wee bit off guard. Let me see if I can look it up exactly. Okay. Okay, so if I can find the exact quote. Okay, bugger. Oh, here it is. Okay. So it was during an interview on 60 Minutes where he's being interviewed by Wallace, who says, Black History Month. You find Freeman answers, ridiculous. Wallace, why? Freeman, you're going to relegate my history to a month? Wallace, come on. Freeman, what do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? Come on, tell me. Wallace, I'm Jewish. Okay, which month is Jewish History Month? Wallace, there isn't one. Freeman, why not? Do you want one? Wallace, no. Freeman, I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history. Wallace, how are we going to get rid of racism until... Freeman, stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman. You're not going to say, I know this white guy named Mike Wallace. Hear what I'm saying? Yes, Morgan Freeman, I hear what you're saying. And I honestly am connecting the dots here. We had a president of the United States named Barack Obama. And he had all these great and wonderful things that he talked about that he was going to bring to pass. And honestly, a lot of them sounded really good. But when he mentioned making racism a thing of the past or pushing it further backward, it caught my attention, had turned my head. And I wondered, why'd he bring that up? Morgan Freeman saying this about racism, I'll let you connect the dots on that one. In a movie that didn't come out all that long ago called The Martian, a very interesting concept that not a lot of people like to talk about came up. And that is, within each of us, there is a want to help others. Now, normally, these kind of movies love to dramatize the need for survival. The need to, in the end, you look out for yourself above others. The need for that primordial animal urge for you to survive, and how that instinct takes over and whatnot. No, they covered the need within each of us to help other people, which to me was huge. Absolutely huge. That someone was willing to cover that. Especially in a movie where survival was so paramount. Where this guy was facing death, like right in the face. Like, every way you looked at it, his odds of survival were probably less than 1%. Every single way you looked at it. And yet he made the determination, I am going to survive. And the people, everyone on Earth who could help, decided to help. Maybe technically not everyone. Maybe there were other parties that could have helped or whatnot. But regardless, there were people who could have remained silent, would not have ever been found out, who spoke up and helped. And that made such a big deal to me. And that's one of the reasons why The Martian is one of my favorite movies. Because it made such a big deal about wanting to actually help others. Paying attention to what's good. Paying attention to what is right. And the innate want and need to help other people, I do believe, is actually what is fundamentally within each of us. And if we will exercise that on a regular basis, a good deed daily won't be a chore. It will be a privilege. And it's all I can do to say and look around, just do good where you can. And just, even if people are being rude and cruel to you, even if you can't, under any circumstances, fathom their way of thinking, be nice to them. And you might just get through to one of them. It's a difficult concept. Oh, I'm not somebody who can, turn the other cheek very easily. Not one bit. It is extremely difficult for me to do that. But without a doubt, it is the most rewarding path there is to help others, to make people smile. Just basically make somebody's day. Fulfill that need. Grow that. Build that up. Don't feed off hatred and fear. Build off just doing good for no reason other than just to do it, for no sake of reward, whether in this life or the next one. Just do what's right for no other reason than just to do it. That's honestly the message I'd really love to get out there. And especially in modern society right now, where everybody is just either participating in the hatred or being afraid of it, or just wanting to not notice it, or who knows, other things. It's just do good where you can. And if you really want to get out there, just expand that, spread that message, do everything you can. But whatever you do, don't give in to the hate. Do not give in to the fear. Don't mean to sound like a hippie, but spread some love. But in any case, that's basically just my take on this. I want to pop my head out, drop something that I've never really dropped before, and say, hey, spread some love around. Pay it forward. That kind of thing. Do a good deed daily. A privilege, not a chore. But in any case, alright everybody, well, if you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you have any feedback whatsoever, you agree with me or disagree with me, leave it down in the comment section below. And if you're new to this channel and genuinely enjoy this kind of content, please consider subscribing. In any case, don't get in too much trouble or do. It's always up to you. Toodles.